Coming to a close. 3 seasons is what the Skip Barber Racing School put out as a challenge to the iRacing servers and the members on it. And now we are 2 seasons down and 3/4 of the way through the final one. 3 races remain, and the first of those 3 is coming at you today at a new circuit that a track that I have not yet done a single broadcast on. So first time for a lot of us is the Skip Barber Racing School Championship on RaceBot TV and iRacing Live goes to Snetterton on the 300 layout here. Don't go away. Welcome back here to RaceBot TV and iRacing Live as coverage begins here from the final of, well, from the 10th round here of the Skip Barber Racing School Championship, the first of the final quarters, I wanted to say there. But Randy Chinnet, Alvin Nieves, Hugo Louis bringing you all the action here today. But Alvin, this is one of those racetracks that a lot of the UK and I members have really been asking for a long time here on the iRacing service. They want a lot of those sort of British, let's say, club style tracks. Typically see these little formula cars type of run here, not typically Skip Barber because they're normally a North American thing, but you will see these sorts of race cars here. Also touring cars, also bikes are not uncommon to see racing around Snetterton. Well, this is, to me at least, as far as I can remember, this is my first show. This might be one of the first broadcasts we've done here on RaceBot at this new track.
And I think you are right, Randy. This track, Snetterton, I think this has been one of the most requested tracks here that we have. And today, I think you are right. This is the first broadcast we are doing. How new is this track? Well, let's say that it's so new that we didn't even got time to actually get the live track map to work with us. So you know what, Randy? For the with the power of Grayskull, I'm pretty sure that we're gonna get this done right.
Yeah, the power of Grayskull, also known Google, but yeah, Joe Gua has got to step that game up, get us the GRT track maps here for this layout. And if you're curious about corner names, well, depending on the camera angle, you will see them outside of every single corner shortly before turn-in, and sometimes after turn-in. There is actually a bit of a sign that has the corner names on them. We got another minute left, and I think one thing I want to talk about here, Alvin, lap times. This is going to be a very, very long race. 13 laps. This is, similar to what we saw last week at Okayama, but Okayama, you're talking about minute 30, minute 40 lap times around that place. Here, they're going over 2 minutes, and it's going to be a 13-lap race here. We're going to be pushing a half hour on this one, and that's going to be one of the longest shows that we've had here of these 3 seasons in the Skip Barber series.
And even though, all the races in terms of distance, pretty much on every season, they are pretty much the same when it comes to distance, but just the fact when you come to a track and you encounter you are doing pretty much a lap that could be pushing 2 minutes, north of 2 minutes, that's where things start to getting really interesting, because it kind of feels like an endurance, even though it's the same distance, but in the mind of the driver it's like one long lap, and that can be one of the big factors here today.
Quick glance at the current point standings, and we'll go to your starting grid here as qualifying is about to end. Adecobo Lopez continues to lead the points with 1,888 points. Andrew Picario still sits second with 1,623. Greg Seitz in third with 1,464. Enzo Canta and Luke Witten round out the top 5. It's a 200-point gap between your top 3. 200 points from Picario to Lopez, and then 200 more points from Seitz to Picario. But that said, let's go down your starting grid here for round number 10, your Skip Barber Racing School Championship. Once again, the Iberica Racing Team driver of Adecobo Lopez comes away with the quick time in time trials. That's a 205.683. Justin Tipton, though, nipping at his heels with a 205.788. Andrew Picario puts in a 205.8 with Adam Ryland putting in a 206 flat. Top 3, the only drivers in that 205 second bracket. Greg Seitz and Christopher Cash, so they're going to make up that third row, with Jorge Atinzia and Sarah Savage making up row 4. Carl Dronke and Tyler Hervias on row 5. El Leroy Coppage and Francois Bollier in row 6. Christian Capenga, he'll roll off 13th. The last few drivers to put in a time. And a notable name here at the back of the grid, Felipe Bear will start 14th on the outside of row 7. That's a disaster of a starting qualifying effort from him. Didn't even get a lap in. And Edwin Valerino will start on the 15th position without a qualifying time. So, Snetterton 300, bit of a curveball here. And as we said, bit of a track that myself and Alvin a little bit unexperienced with, but you have a couple long straightaways here. You have the center straight, that's your main front straightaway, and you can definitely make moves going down into corner number 1. You also have the Bentley straight that runs into Brundle and Nelson, but that is sort of a difficult complex, very tight complex. May not see a lot of passing there at that part of the racetrack. So
I think that
go ahead.
Sorry. And one of the main parts, you know, pretty much the whole track, it kind of feels like it's a long it is a long and fast track, but once you get into Brundle, Nelson, and Bumble, it's going to be really interesting as we go green flag racing.
Green flag flies, and it's a good start here from Adecobo Lopez. And Andrew Picario, he actually gets a good leap as well. Look for him to make a move here on Justin Tipton. Looks to the outside here of corner number 1 at Reeks, and they go sweeping through into the first corner, and everyone's going to maintain pretty much single file. Kind of an awkward first corner there. Now as they go running up into Montreal, and this is the first tight corner of the circuit. Hard on the brakes and 180 degrees all the way around. Everyone needs to get these cars turned all the way around, and the offset to the 200 circuit goes to the left there, but no, they come down into corner number 3 at Palmer. Again, another sweeping left-hander here at Snetterton, and then down this sort of short shoot here into Agostini, and everyone pretty much single file for now. A little bit of side-by-side almost between Greg Seitz and Adam Rylands. We're pretty much single file up and down the field for now.
Single file pretty much, and Jorge Atienza on the inside trying to get a move on Sarah Savage. Let's see if he can get the move, but no, Sarah Savage is still in front, but I'm really surprised that so far everybody has able to go single file. But now, Randy, after this complex, now they are coming out of Hamilton going into Ogies, and once they get into Williams, into the Bentley straight, we may see a little bit of slipstream action.
So through this tight right-hander, now we're coming onto the first long straightaway of the lap. You see a lot of gaps already forming because of the technical nature of this circuit. Now down the Bentley straight, and this runs down into Brundle and into Nelson. Brundle's going to be the first hurdle here. It is a very kind of awkward left-hand kink, and then it's going to be hard on the brakes for a 90-degree right-hander into Nelson. Sweep left, clip the apex, get hard on the brakes, need to fight with the oversteer and hot that curb nicely. Adecobo Lopez, a little bit too much, and because of that, he gives a little bit of time back to Justin Tipton. Now from here into Bomb Hole, and now you're going to begin the run into Coram. A long right-hander, not quite reaching 180 degrees, but you're going to spend 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds of the lap just turning here, and then into Murray's hard on the brakes once again. Need to get the car to the left, don't want to clip that curb on the inside too hard, and now down onto the front straightaway. This is the center straight, longest straight on the lap for the first time here. All the cars will come as Tipton going to try to reel in Adecobo Lopez, but Picario not going to allow him to get a breath as he goes running down to the first corner back at Ritchie's, and Picario has that line on the outside, gets on the brakes though. No doing it here on the outside just yet. That number 4 machine behind of Ryland, he's going to have a run. He might slot himself up the inside of Picario, but no, Picario maintains momentum as they run back into Montreal, but again, nothing going to stick just yet.
Well, a little bit of an update. I was looking at the map, and I kind of noticed that Montreal was actually renamed Wilson, you know, in honor of Justin Wilson, the ex-IndyCar driver. Rest in peace, by the way. But yeah, the action so far, it seems really good. Andrew Procario trying to get that move on Justin Tipton. It's really interesting when they make that move, because from what we saw on the last race, Randy, if they keep fighting this hard, that may be the chance for Areco Lopez to actually get an escape from this leading group.
So back in Augies are going to go once again as Areco Lopez still trying to stretch that gap here, still pretty much single file up and down the entirety of your field. And that's one of the things I think we're going to see here at this racetrack here, Alvin, because Snetterton is a very technical circuit and it's also very narrow. And the way a lot of the corners run, I don't think it's going to be the sort of racetrack that really lends itself to side-by-side racing. That said, we had a car off in the grass. This is Sarah Savage way off in the dirt on the exit there of Williams, and she unfortunately kicked it back into the right, hit that wall hard, and that number 13 machine, that's likely going to be day done as everyone is going to begin cycling their way through. But here at Snetterton, you sort of have to race this in a touring car sort of format. You have to really be aggressive trying to make moves, because if you just try to do the general sort of slipstream and just be a little bit harder on the brakes than everyone else, slightly deeper, you're never going to make anything stick. You really have to manhandle passes around here.
It certainly is, and that is one of the main characteristics of this circuit. Yes, it is narrow and it also has its own fast turn characteristics, but yeah, you have to be really aggressive. Anytime you get back on the throttle, you have to do it as early as possible to try to get an advantage. And what Sarah got there, well, let's say that the wall just got a little bit savage.
Through the first corner they come, and Andrew Procario is going to inherit this second position. Fantastic move on the outside into turn one, and now they're going to be running up into Wilson, but Justin Tipton, he's going to try to manhandle himself up the inside of Andrew Procario. Procario's not going to have anything of it. 5 machine has to check up just a little bit. Also Adam Rylance, he had to take a little bit of evasive action because he wasn't expecting his teammate in the 5 to go for that aggressive move, but well done there by Procario to take the move on the outside and then defend the next move that was coming here, that was thrown at him now into Agostini. All the cars are running left-hand hairpin. Then they're going to go into Hamilton and then back into Augies here as Areco Lopez doing a fantastic job to open up the gap. It was half a second last time through, and maybe just a little bit longer than that right now because of the side-by-side racing that's happening behind. And into the Augies hairpin they're going to come, and your top 5, excuse me, still all very close, but Lopez definitely having the clear advantage right now. They go into Williams and down Bentley Straight once again.
Going down into Bentley Straight, but Andrew Procario, what a fantastic move. And that is what we were talking about, Randy. You have to be aggressive. You have to commit yourself to making the moves whenever you can. And Andrew Procario right now running in P2. He is discounting the advantage little by little to Areco Lopez. So I wouldn't be surprised, just perhaps on next lap we may see a fight for the lead as well.
Let's see, though, they're all going to cycle themselves through the last sector of racing here once again into the bomb hole, then on the run down into Coram. Can anyone close that gap with Felipe Bear? We mentioned the fact that he did not have a good qualifying position. Well, didn't even get a qualifying lap in. Started this race in the 14th position. He now runs in P number 7, so 3 laps and 7 immense positions already built up for Felipe Bear, and he's already on the back of Christopher Cash, hounding the back of that number 11, but coming off the final corner at Murray's, pushes a little bit wide, and because of that, he's not going to get a good run down center straight. He's going to have to just cycle in for this 7th position here at the moment. That said, looking back out in front, Andrew Procario using that draft, able to reel that gap down into Areco Lopez just a little bit, but as they work themselves through Ritchie's and back up into the Wilson hairpin once again, we're going to see that number 9 machine struggle. But that said, Lopez very wide at the apex, but he clips it much later, sort of like you would say at a track like Montreal. Ironically enough, you're going to clip that apex relatively late, but I think there's no real point in doing that, Alvin, because you don't really have a long straightaway following it. You're going to see, I think, cost yourself a little bit more time trying to apex late like that than you'd ever gain down the following straight.
It could be that, but there's also the possibility of Areco Lopez Verhey trying to do more of a defensive line at the exit, trying to hamper Andrew Procario's exit speed, and I think that was more of a tactical line that he took on the exit rather than the actual racing line. And yes, you want to take that line if it leads to a long straight. In this case, it felt more like a bit of a tactical move.
So back on the Bentley straightaway, they're going to come once again. Andrew Procario should be taking full advantage of the slipstream here. Up and down the field, there's not really a lot of close battle. We got another car though, exiting that Williams corner. It's the number 12 machine of Carl Dronke. He's off into the grass here, and this is just a little bit of oversteer on entry. Got him a little bit wide at the corner, and then while he tried to be aggressive, run it through the dirt, stay on the throttle, he unfortunately hit a bump, and that shot him off onto the left-hand side of the racetrack. So not what he would have wanted to hear in that little effort. By the way, Felipe Bear check-in time, he has gotten around Christopher Cash, so move him up into P number 6. Next driver in line will be Greg Seitz, and talk about an impressive performance from him. Alvin qualified, started all the way at the back of the field, and now he's only about 1 to 2 seconds off his teammates who run inside the top 5. He might have been the quickest driver here today, given the ability to get himself to the top 5 this quickly.
He certainly is, and even though the leading 5 are pretty much locked into slipstream, I am sure Felipe Lever, he does have the pace to catch up to this group. He doesn't need any slipstream at all to be able to get to the back of this group. And once he gets back on this group, it will be really interesting how he can make his way up to the front of the field. And I'll tell you right now, Randy, if he gets to the front of the field, he's gonna be in there for the win.
Looking at the lap times, Felipe Bear, the quickest driver on track by 0.2 of a second, 2:05.3 for him. Adecobo Lopez and a handful of other drivers in that top 5 group were in the 2:05.5s. So the quickest driver on track right now is that number 3 machine, as the entire field works themselves into Agostini, and now on the run back down towards into Hamilton. Precario still hounding the back of Adecobo Lopez. Lopez hasn't quite been able to get away as they go through the awkward and oh so technical left-hander there at Hamilton, and then hard on the brakes down into Augie's they go once again. And that's, I think, one of the other talking points of this racetrack, Alvin. There's so many awkward corners geometrically here. I mean, you talk about here Williams, this is relatively straightforward, just a long right-hand sweeper, but you have so many situations where it's like at the end of this straightaway at Bentley, you have the Brundle and Nelson section, you have Coram, that long right-hander that leads into Murray's. One of the most awkward racetracks on this entire Skip Barber schedule.
I think this is perhaps the hardest part of this turn when you go into Brundle and Nelson, because you want to carry as much speed into Brundle, but it can be really deceiving because then comes Nelson and you have to be careful with the curves. Now coming into Bumble, it has a little bit of a dip there, but you can easily take full throttle. Now comes Coran, and I think this is the perhaps the most annoying turn here because it kind of goes forever and ever, even worse than perhaps taking the carousel, for example, because you don't know when it's gonna end, and then as soon as you think that it's gonna end, boom, it comes Mary's, and you have to be ready for it, because if you take it wrong, well, once coming into the center straight, the last thing you want is to come out with a bad exit.
Looking at the lap times once again, consistency from your leader, another 2:05.5 from Lopez. He again was one of the quicker drivers out there on the racetrack, and Felipe Bear matched him. Pretty much everyone in that lead group in the 2:05.5 range. We had a couple drivers, Precario and Ryland, so were 2:05.4s, and Greg Seitz, 2:05.8 from him. Felipe Bear also 2:05.5, Christopher Cash a 5.7. So everyone in that lead group relatively close right now and pretty much matching one another here as they continue to lap. They're going to come now back down towards Agostini down this little short chute. I will say, Alvin, Precario that last time through, he did a fantastic job to get third place runner Justin Tipton and tuck himself onto the rear wing ever so slightly of Adecobo Lopez. He's starting to break away from the likes of Tipton and Rylands right here.
He is breaking indeed, and I'm pretty sure that Andrew Vergara perhaps trying to get the chance that he is looking for to try to get around Adecobo Lopez. But Randy, I kind of hate to mention this, but we've kind of seen this all season long with the Skip Barbers. You can stay behind somebody else and you can try to keep pace, but you also have to keep your engine temps in check, because we have seen that these engines, they really don't like the slipstream too much.
A little bit of almost side-by-side fighting here. Justin Tipton, I think, not getting the exit on the Bentley straight he wanted. He sort of was offline just a little bit, but no one able to take advantage of it there. Also, Felipe Bear still not closing the way I think I expected him to after seeing the way his lap times were being run. But that said, he has lashed himself onto the back of Greg Seitz, and he's going to have the slipstream here. Might just have an opportunity to leapfrog Greg relatively quickly and slipstream himself up into Rylands. That said, second, third, and fourth, all very close on the racetrack. Adecobo Lopez, though, I just talked about how Precario had reeled in that leader in that number 1 machine, but now it's the exact opposite. Precario has a huge gap that he has to now try to reel back in as the fight for second is on, and Tipton and Rylands, they're going to be very close as they come down this center straightaway. Past start finish they go, and into corner number 1. No one's going to make a move just yet, but now I think if you're Precario, Alvin, you have to start thinking about running for points and just figuring out how to defend the second place. Reeling in Lopez might be out of the question here as we're over halfway.
And as the race keeps going on, Arico Lopez keeps showing his true fantastic form that he has shown pretty much all race long. Adam Rylands able to close the gap to Justin Tipton just a little bit, and it also kind of seems that Andrew Precario able to open the gap just a little bit in this technical section here now going into Agostini. But once they go back into the long straights, that's where Andrew Precario is really suffering, because now with Arico Lopez able to pull just a little bit, he doesn't have the advantage of the slipstream, so now Andrew Precario look for him to defend.
A lot of these drivers putting in quicker times right now than they ran in qualifying, so maybe something in the setup or in the weather here at Snetterton is just likes these cars. After they get a half dozen or so laps on them, the tires just come alive. Felipe Bear has reeled in teammate Greg Seitz. We're going to have to keep an eye for that fight to heat up, because right now it is 4 teammates that all run in a row, from Justin Tipton in 3rd all the way back to Felipe Bear in 6th. And as in order, it's Tipton to Rylands to Seitz to LeBear. So 4 teammates all running in a row. That's something we need to keep an eye on, and how they're going to end up working together. Precario having those 2 teammates behind, well, not those, the 2 behind him are teammates. He is not a teammate of those 2, and that's going to make things very interesting, because you know for a fact, Alvin, if one of them gets the nose, the other one's going to follow him through, and their entire goal is going to be to try to put him 2 spots down rather than just 1.
It certainly is, and now Andrew Precario really feeling the pressure there from Justin Tipton. Last lap we saw Justin Tipton drifting just a little bit in Coram, and now it is the triumph of Andrew Precario. He gets a really bad exit, and I think this is the opportunity that Justin Tipton was looking for.
Felipe Bear is also close. We're going to look at this fight for seconds. Precario makes a mistake. The number 5 machine of Tipton is going to pounce. Here comes the 4 of Rylands as well. He smells blood in the water, and he's working the slipstream. Precario tries to shut the door on him, and he's going to successfully do so. So while Precario is going to fall back into the 3rd spot, it's a good job to keep off that number 4 machine to the number 9 of Precario. Fantastic run. Tipton pushed it a little wide, and because of that, Andrew able to maintain the momentum through turn number 1 into the 2nd corner at Wilson, and they're going to remain side by side. I think Precario was expecting to have that job done by now, and now as they work themselves into turn 3 at Palmer, they're going to all get themselves back single file. Can't really do it side by side here, but he'll have the cut under. Will Andrew Precario, a little bit of momentum, will he be able to get on the brakes into Agostini? Yes, he will. Hard onto the brakes, he's about to go down a couple gears. The number 4 machine gets into his teammate. Disaster for them. The one thing you never want to see happen, Alvin, while you're racing for P2 and P3 is to see a teammate drive up into the side of you. Huge mistake there from Adam Rylands.
Little bit over optimistic there from Adam Rylands. I was expecting him to make a move, but not trying to make a 3 wide into Agostini, and well, unfortunately Justin Tipton is now paying the consequences. But all this fighting that has been going on pretty much for this lap has allowed Arico Lopez to open a massive 2.7 second gap to 2nd place.
Arico Lopez is checked out, as Alvin just said, because of all that hard fighting. So seems like everyone behind is pretty much just accepting the 2nd spot. Felipe Bear, he gets himself around Greg Seitz to move him up into P number 4. Here's Precario and Tipton. Tipton sort of showed the nose as they went into that little sector right there, and well, Precario shut the door. Would have been a very, very close moment of racing as they ran through Brundle and Nelson, and now they come back up into Coram. Going to be 5 laps to go here. Arico Lopez still well and truly clear. Andrew Precario, he's still fighting for the 2nd spot though, and Justin Tipton, he's not going to make it easy. And Felipe Bear, he's on a bit of a charge right now, Alvin, because while those guys have been fighting hard in front of him, he's just picked that spot up behind of his teammates relatively easily, and now he's slowly closing in that gap. Right now, the one thing LeBear needs though is for Tipton to start fighting with Precario to try to slow those 2 down.
That's pretty much his hope right now, because as soon as Felipe Bear was able to get into P6 and he started to reel in this group, he started to lose a little bit of time. So I think that was due to the fact that he had to fight so hard at the beginning of the race to make all those positions, starting from P14 all the way to P6, now running in P number 4. He had to fight that car so hard that perhaps he has pushed the tires a little bit too much. So now he's trying to rely a little bit more on his teammates, trying to put more fights here and there for him to pick up as many places as possible.
Ooh, the number 5 machine makes the same exact mistake as his teammate did one lap later. Tipton very, very deep on the brakes into Agostini, and he almost got into the back of Andrew Picario. So that's going to give Picario a little bit of breathing room here. Not sure what that is. Maybe the two teammates, maybe they're just have a little bit of a later braking point, or maybe Picario brakes a little bit earlier, or maybe that's just, you know, slight focus mistakes from them and just personal errors on their part. Not sure what it is, but still very close moment between those two as LeBert coming onto the Bentley straightaway, still trying to reel those two in. They come down now on the run into Brundle and Nelson once again, still at Jacobo Lopez. 3.1 seconds was the gap last time through. 205.4 for Jacobo Lopez, while Lightson P number 2, 206.7, 207.2, and a 205.4. So Felipe Bear, he's doing very good, but second and third continue to fight very hard as they run themselves back into Bomb Hill once again. And now for the infinitely long right-hander at Coram.
Now going into Coram, let's see if Justin Tipton can find a way around here. He sliced the car just a little bit, Justin Tipton, but trying to keep the car under control as now they brake hard going into Marison. Let's see how they get. They don't use the inside curve because it could be really lethal on these cars, but getting a good exit here going into the center straight. Andrew Ricardo still running in P2, but Justin Tipton just trying to close the gap just a little bit more.
So Felipe Bear reels in the pair in second and third by half a second once again that lap. The gap between him and his teammate in third, Justin Tipton, 1.2 seconds on the racetrack, and we have 4 laps remaining. So if he can maintain that pace, he will get there as they work themselves back into Wilson once again. And Picario needs to try to get perfect exits here, but he also needs to be aware because as they run up into Palmer, he needs to realize they're coming up on a sector of the racetrack where the two behind him have been so scary. So as they work themselves through Palmer and into Agostini, will Justin Tipton be too late on the brakes once again? Will it be another close moment, or will they remain clean? Hard on the brakes into Agostini, and Tipton's a little bit later, but he takes a slightly different line through that corner entirely, but not quite as close there, Alvin, as we've seen in the last handful of laps.
I think that was a bit more trying to keep the race going, because I think last time it was a little bit of a scary moment there for Justin Tipton, so perhaps trying to keep behind Andrew Picario and see if he can get a good run here now, coming here into Williams. Let's see how good Justin Tipton tries to get an exit. Slice a little bit on turn entry, but I think he got a good exit here, and I think this is the opportunity Justin Tipton was looking for.
Tipton has a chance. He's going to look up the inside into Brundle, and this is one of the most difficult places on the track to make a move. He's going to look up the inside, and he has the advantage. I think Picario might realize that he sort of lifts out of it, but not really. He wanted to still commit to the corner, but no. Justin Tipton, working the slipstream, picks up that second spot. That's going to help Felipe Bear a little bit as well as they go back into Bomb Hill once again as they begin the run back down into Coram. Andrew Picario falls into that third spot. This is where he qualified, and he's fought back to get himself into that second spot a couple times before already, but he has to be thinking in the back of his mind, the harder I fight right now, Justin, the more likely it is that Philippe gets to me. As Philippe on the exit of Coram reels that gap in just ever so slightly, and now they begin the run down the long center straightaway once again. Going to be 3 laps to go here at the line.
Andrew Picario trying to fight really hard to go back into P2, but Justin Tipton running a defensive fight here on the inside and slides going into Riches. So let's see the run that Andrew Picario can get here, but it kind of looks like no, he won't be able to get the run here going into Wilson. So stay here P2, P3 for the moment, but the more they keep fighting, the more Felipe Lebert is gonna keep reeling in. Randy, I'm pretty sure Felipe Lebert, he's not gonna be afraid to go into a good fight.
I think Felipe Bear is going to be very keen here. He's had a very good race. He started way in the back of the field, and he has an opportunity to finish right up near the front of it. He has to be thinking in the back of his head, though, what could have been. What would have happened had I qualified a little bit better here as they all run back into Agostini once again. They come off that corner, begin the run back up into Hamilton, this very awkward left-hand kink, and then back down into Augie's here as Felipe Bear still lurking in the background, and how will Andrew Picario respond? They come now through Augie's and begin the run back into Williams. Will he get a good exit and be able to make a move down into Bentley? Picario apexes the corner a little bit earlier, gets on the throttle maybe slightly later, and I think that's going to favor Justin Tipton here. as I think Precario not nearly close enough to work the slipstream, but he's going to try to reel him in as they go down now into Brundle. Will he be close enough to show a nose? He's right up on the rear gearbox, and he looks to the inside, but no, not close enough. So they're going to remain single file as they run through Brundle and into Nelson, and on to Bromhill once again, but Tipton makes a mistake. Justin Tipton facing the wrong way. Precario, he re-inherits the second spot. He has Felipe Bear right up his tailpipe, and now is between these two to run for second. Is Tipton, he's going to be kicking himself for that one, Alvin.
Definitely a big mistake, and that was going to be one of the sections of the track that we said at the beginning of the broadcast. It was going to be one of the most difficult parts of the circuit. Brundle into Nelson, and well, unfortunately Justin Tipton cannot pay the price. So now the good news for Andrew Precario, he is back in P2 with 2 laps to go. Bad news, 2 laps to defend from Felipe Leber, and Felipe Leber looking at the outside.
Looks to the outside. We saw Precario make a move here earlier on, side by side through turn 1. We have to think that Leber's going to have the slight momentum advantage, but actually no, it's a very good run on the exit for Andrew Precario as they run up into Wilson. Deeper on the brakes is Felipe Bear. He needs to try to maintain this overlap because this is going to be his opportunity as they run now into turn 3 at Palmer. The 3 of Leber has that inside groove. Look for Precario. He's going to check up just a little bit early, and he's going to work the cutback. Leber needs to try to cut that off, but he failed to do so. So Precario, he has an opportunity to take the fight right back to Felipe Bear into Agostini. He had a couple of close moments from behind. This is his chance to make the move from behind, and Felipe Bear makes a slight uncharacteristic mistake. We know he likes that race car loose. Slides just a little bit, and Precario muscles his way back into the second spot, into Hamilton. No side-by-side to be had here as they run into Augies. Look for everyone to run single file as well, because you want to get a good run from here to go back into Williams. Precario muscles his way past the dominant Felipe Bear to get himself back into P2.
Muscling his way indeed, Andrew Precario fighting for his life here in P number 2, but Felipe Leber, it looks like he got a good run here out of Williams and down here into the Bentley straight. Felipe Leber closing little by little. Let's see if he gets a look here on the inside. Yes, he's going for the inside. Let's go here into a braking contest into Brundle and Nelson, and for now Felipe Leber able to muscle his way back into P2.
White flag is going to be in the air once they come back onto the front straightaway through bomb hole for the penultimate time. And Andy Precario needs to be kicking himself. He's left that inside open to both Tipton and now Leber on the run into Brundle. That's not something you can do because there's no way you can fight side by side into that sequence on the racetrack. Into Murray's for the penultimate time and down the long front straightaway. Will Precario have enough of a slipstream to begin fighting with that number 3 machine into the first corner? He's close. He's going to be very close. And where is he going to decide to make the move? There is a lane on the inside, but he's going to look wide. Looks to the top side of the racetrack. Andrew Precario looks to sweep around the outside of that number 9 machine. He might have done it. He looked very good at the mid-corner, but Felipe Bear picked the throttle back up aggressively. But Precario has the momentum and is slightly deeper back on the brakes here through turn number 2. He's going to work to try to maintain the momentum once again. Can he do what Felipe Bear failed to do here at turn 3 and make this move stick? He gets back onto the brakes and gets down to the apex, and the number 3 machine doesn't have any overlap. He's going to have a run through here, but he's not going to have the good line that you would want into Agostini and certainly not into Hamilton. So hard on the brakes they're about to be, and down a couple of gears and into Agostini. Now here back at the apex, we saw this 3 machine on this wide line fight the oversteer just 1 lap ago, but not able to do so. Still side by side as they go running now in towards Hamilton. Not a corner you typically see run side by side, but no choice here. And Bear maintains the overlap. Will he have an opportunity at Ogies? No, he has to fall back. And now they can begin the run down into Williams for the final time onto the Bentley straightaway. This is where we've seen Precario lose spots 2 times already in this motor race. He has to be more aggressive defending that inside line. He's trying to take the slipstream away, looking left, looking right. Where will Felipe Bear make his move? You see Precario taking that inside run away. Bear sweeps to the outside. All the while, Greg Seitz lurking behind. If there's any mistake, he will inherit the second spot. As the number 9 machine pushes wide, and he's going to push off the racetrack. A mistake from Andy Precario is going to take away the opportunity in the second place. Felipe Bear re-inherits P number 2. Here comes Greg Seitz trying to get a run on his teammate. He cycles himself back into P number 3 through Coram for the final time. Now on the run down into Murray's, the number 3 Felipe Bear. 1 more corner, and from second to last on the starting grid. Felipe Bear will have a monster race here, race himself back up into second. All the while, Ade Cobo-Lopez will take the win up near the front.
What a fantastic race there from Felipe Bear, coming from all the way from the back of the field, being able to run into P2. It may not seem like much, but the race that he had in here today was really exciting. But you know, for all the excitement that Felipe Bear provided, we cannot rest any merits to the dominant race that Ade Cobo-Lopez had here today.
Andrew Picario is going to be kicking himself over that mistake. He had, I think, that second place locked up. All he had to do was get Nelson right, and he failed to do so. That was his downfall all race long. But with that, let's go down your post-race results here live from Snetterton. Ade Cobo-Lopez once again gets a pole position and will take the victory here at Snetterton. Felipe Bear, masterful drive, plus 12 today from 14th all the way up to second. Greg Seitz, he will finish in third. Andrew Picario will manage to scrounge up a fourth place finish, but not what we would have wanted. And Christopher Cash will round out your top 5. Justin Tipton will finish 6th after his mistake coming through the bottom hill, the Nelson section of the racetrack. And Tyler Herbias in 7th, Carl Donka 8th, Jorge Atins in 9th, and Leroy Coppage in 10th. Christian Capenga, Francois Bollier, Sarah Savage, Edwin Ballerino, and Adam Rylands round out the rest of your field here today. Hope you enjoyed this presentation of the Skip Barber Racing School Championship here on RaceSpot TV and iRacing Live. If you're not done watching this content just yet, we have another exciting race coming at you. The Raven Graphics Contender Series kicked off the chase last week at Richmond, and now we go into chase race number 2 from Sonoma for the Napa Valley 125 here in just a couple moments time. Keep an eye on the iRacing YouTube page for that. But from everyone here at RaceSpot TV and iRacing Live, from myself, Randy Chineth, Alvin Nieves, and Hugo Louis, we will see you next time and next week as we go Skip Barber Racing once again at Oulton Park. Until then, bye-bye.